rebel now. The former, the former rebel now. The former, the former rebel now. The rebel now.
Yes, so Wasted World of Sports. Ahoy! How's everybody doing? Nice and late here in Australia, Brisbane, Australia, 11 p.m. almost. 15 minutes to go as we're counting down for the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix. Lando Norris starts from pole. Thank God it's not Max Verstappen. That's all I can say. I hope that you agree with me on that one. Max Verstappen will be starting, I believe, in fourth. He qualified in fifth, but what happened was Lewis Hamilton received a 3-grid penalty for something that happened. I believe it was a penalty for, funnily enough, impeding Max Verstappen somewhere on the track, whether it was during qualifying or during the third practice. I can't say for 100% certainty. All I know, Lewis Hamilton, 3-place grid drop, which elevates Max Verstappen up to fourth. But it is our boy, Oscar Piastri, starting in third. That's what we'll be keeping an eye on. Can our boy Oscar, our Aussie boy, leap ahead of the pack? Can something go his way? Because let's remember, not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities here at Monaco. They'll be very reliant on pit stop strategy. And this year is going to present a very, very interesting pit stop strategy. Ahoy there, BDKMV. Ahoy, mate. 2 pit stops should make it interesting. See how it goes with tactics. And one thing that I'm very interested in sussing out, it provides an opportunity for the teams lower down. So think about this. Is there potential for a Lance Stroll to potentially win the Grand Prix? So mandatory 2 stops, which they've done to just shake things up a bit, shake up the grid a wee bit, shake up the race, and do something a little bit different. But imagine this. Will some of those teams lower down pull the trigger on an early pit stop just to get one out of the way and then ride their luck? Maybe a safety car gives them a free pit stop later on. So they've done there too. And then they just switch over to the medium or hard tire, depending on which stage of the race it's in, and just see it out to the end. It's going to be very interesting. Will Main, ahoy, mates. I'm excited for this one too, actually. Monaco doesn't usually provide a whole lot of excitement on track in terms of battles, overtakes, that sort of thing. But I dare say that we're going to see, as was brought up in the Twitch chat room, some interesting pit stop strategies this year. Oscar Piastri starting from third on the grid. Jace, ahoy, mate. Welcome along over there on the YouTube. And I need to point out as well, in fifth spot on the grid, Oscar Piastri. I mean, not Oscar Piastri, sorry. Isaac Hadjar. Sorry, Oscar Piastri's on the brain, because obviously we'll be cheering on our Aussie boy. Piastri's in third, but yeah, Isaac Hadjar starting in fifth. I mean, credit to him there for qualifying that high up. Okay, he benefited 1 spot from Lewis Hamilton's grid penalty, But still, like, even qualifying initially in 6th, that's pretty good for Hadjar and his team there. Bruce, ahoy, mate. How's it going? We're about 10 minutes away from race time. We've just gone through Martin Brundle's grid walk. Poor guy, you've got to feel sorry for him. That must be one of the hardest jobs in Formula One. But I tell you, it's something that I wouldn't mind doing because we know that I'm capable of just blabbering on. Doesn't really matter. Rozzy boy, ahoy, mate. So, yeah, if we quick... Sorry, switched myself off. Yeah, if we have a quick look at the grid lineup, Lando Norris obviously qualified in pole. Charles Leclerc right behind him. Our boy Oscar Piastri starting in 3rd. Lewis Hamilton initially qualified in 4th, but received a three spot grid penalty. So Max Verstappen gets elevated. Isaac Hadjar gets elevated. Fernando Alonso gets elevated. And Lewis will be starting down in 7th, despite his qualification run. Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, and Alexander Albon round out the top 10. Will Main says Max Verstappen is annoying. Hang on, where's my drink? Yes, I can't drink hard enough for that. Cheers to that. Collingwood, ahoy, mates. Nicole Feeney, ahoy. Okay, so interesting. Quite a few of us have managed to stay up, or we've had a power nap and got up again, ready to go for this one. So thank you for joining me, whichever social media platform you've joined us for. Oh, sorry, Collingwood, you're a Max fan? Okay, we hate Max around here, and Red Bull, but specifically Max. We can't stand him. Will Main, Oscar Piastri fan. I'm a fan of whoever beats Max Verstappen. And thankfully, in season 2025, that just so happens to be the McLaren boys containing our own Oscar Piastri. James Edgar, ahoy, mates. Go, Oscar. Yes, indeed. I'll drink to that. You know what? I've really got to get a shoe. I mean, I own shoes, but I mean, I need to get a shoe specifically for the streams so that whenever Oscar Piastri wins, we do a shoey at the end of the race. Danny Rick style. Now, I've been a big fan of Formula One for a very long time. When I was just a youngster, I was around for Ayrton Senna, and unfortunately, that means I was around for Ayrton Senna's death on track. Collingwood, you've always loved Max. I'll say this about Max, in all honesty. I'll say this about Max Verstappen. I think perhaps he suffers a little bit from confidence coming across as arrogance. And I've been more than willing to give him that benefit of the doubt on many occasions. I still don't like Red Bull. And the reason I don't like Red Bull as a team is because of the whole cost cap saga. I've never known a sport, and Jason in the YouTube chat can attest to this because his favorite team's the Melbourne Storm. They had championships taken off them because they broke the salary cap. Formula One's the only sport I know where you can break the cost cap, you can break the rules, be found out breaking the rules. Not only were Red Bull allowed to negotiate their own punishment, but they were able to keep the championships that they won whilst clearly and blazingly breaking the cost cap. Now, on that particular point, I probably should hate the FIA rather than Red Bull themselves, But it's just the way that they were so. We've done nothing. They were in denial until they could deny no more. And I think I would have had a lot more respect for Christian Horner and Red Bull had they just come out and admitted it and gone, oh, okay, we screwed up. We're going to cop it. But it was denial, denial, denial. It was like being in a relationship and you catch the other person cheating and they deny it and deny it. But it's like, I literally walked in on you. Red Bull and Australia have a history that goes back 2 decades. They've supported Australian drivers more than most. Ooh, okay. Mark Webber, I can understand. I wouldn't necessarily say that Red Bull supported Danny Rick. They kind of made his life a little bit of a misery. But I totally get what you're saying. Jamie, ahoy, mate. Let me guess, you're watching this race from the warm comfort of your own bed. Nice to have you along anyways. The race is really not far away now. Oh, you're not in bed yet? Okay. Sorry, switched myself off again. Didn't mean to do that. We're getting the intro graphics. The very familiar intro graphics. We're just 4 minutes away from the start. Bring it on. All right, so race predictions. Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri. Being that it is Monaco, I would say under normal circumstances, that will pretty much be the finishing top three. But there is that little spanner in the works of the mandatory 2 pit stops. I mean, that really is going to make things very interesting. Mandatory 2 pit stops. That's going to be crazy. I still reckon one of those teams starting down the back, whether it's Lance Stroll, maybe even an Ollie Behrman, they'll bring him in early. Get him in the pits early. And get one of those pit stops out of the way. It's it's a little bit of a... it's not even necessarily a bending of the rules, but actually I wonder, does anybody know, have they put a limit on when that pit stop can be taken? Because honestly, I could say, or I could see happening, and I would probably do this. I would probably do this if I was playing a Formula One game. And I know video games are obviously not real life. Whoa, mind blown. Video games are not real life, so it might not work out, but it would be a risky tactic. But I figure, look, for someone like Ollie Behrman, you're coming last anyway. Behrman's starting in 20th. They've started him on the medium compound. I mean, bring him in early for one of those pit stops and then hope for a safety car. And who knows, if there is an incident on turn 1, like Jamie's predicting, incident on turn 1, early safety car, maybe everybody dives into the pits just to get one of the stops out of the way. So some interesting questions that this raises. Welcome along, anyways, everybody. 2 minutes to go till race time. This is exciting. Max Verstappen in 4th is a little bit alarming. Sorry, Collingwood. And he started... Okay, Max is on the hard tyre. The other top 3 on the mediums, theoretically, should have a speed advantage early on. So it'll be interesting. I wonder what Max's strategy is there. Starting on the hard, the rest of the top 5 starting on the medium. Is Verstappen going to go long on the first stint and hope to get a freebie under a safety car? all these potential strategy calls. Makes for an exciting race. Zaid Whelan reckons Max will switch halfway through. Can Lando Norris get a start right? We know that Lando, he's a perennial poor starter, isn't he? Charles Leclerc, he will just be waiting for any little hint of opportunity to sneak on through. Did everyone see the start of the F2 race? Wasn't that chaos? Hooves of Thunder says maybe one of the racing balls puts it in the wall after the top few pit. Oh, don't get me started about Red Bull conspiracies, mate. I'll talk for hours on Red Bull conspiracies. Certainly not my favorite team in the world. And the clock ticks over. They're off on the formation lap. Jamie, you caught up on it? Porsche race had the same thing too. I didn't hear. But very interesting to know indeed. Formation lap. So as I said, the top 5 on mediums. Max Verstappen in 4th on the hards. Interesting to see. Lewis Hamilton and Alonso on the hard tyre as well. Liam Lawson started on the soft. And Yuki Tsunoda also on the soft. They're the only two starting on the soft tyres. Oh, I could do an entire live stream, Jamie, on Red Bull conspiracies. This is the formation lap, Will Main. Yes. They are, of course, the only team in Formula One that owns 2 teams. And I mean outright owns them. Other teams are suppliers for parts and whatnot, like Mercedes supply Aston Martin. But Red Bull actually own Racing Bulls, which opens up all kinds of shenanigans. Oscar, our boy, leading the Drivers' Championship, of course. 146 points out there in front. That's what we want to see. When was the last time, little bit of chat room trivia, when was the last time we had an Australian world champion? And unfortunately, I think we all know what team that was from as well. Elliot Brotherway. Mark Webber, indeed. Mark Webber for Red Bull. As the top 3 or 4 have got themselves set up in the grid. Just about to go racing in this one. Keep an eye on Lando Norris. As I said, perennial poor starter. 23 Norco. Ahoy, mate. Where am I streaming from? As in, where in the world am I located? Currently nice and snug here, 11:03 p.m. in Brisbane, Australia, as the red lights appear. The red lights go green and we're off and racing. Norris gets a good jump for probably the first time I can remember, but Leclerc gets on the outside. Norris locks up and nearly takes both of them out. Charles Leclerc did well to pull back there and just let Norris through. Yeah. And the top 2 now breaking away. Max Verstappen on the hard tyre, as expected, dropping back. Not able to maintain the pace with the faster compound up front. But that was nearly chaos there in the opening turn. Almost exactly like Jamie predicted. but Norris has maintained the lead. Oh, something's happened to Bortoleto. He has dropped all the way down to last place. I just saw him go tumbling down the timing charts there. Oh, somebody's gone into the wall. Well, that's why. That would be Bortoleto. That's why he's dropped down the timing sheet so quickly, because he's in the wall and we'll get a yellow flag, definitely. Potentially, we get our first safety car of the day, because that's in a really nasty spot. If he can't get that car going, he does. Green flags. Oh, boy. That was a little bit of excitement early on. Oh, wait a minute. Virtual safety car deployed. Well, what's happened now? Yuki Tsunoda's into the pits. Virtual safety car's out. And we're going to see quite a few of those lower teams jump in here. Tsunoda gets a sort of freebie pit stop. Behrman jumped in. One of the Alpines there jumped in. Gasly, that was. Behrman's in. Bortoleto's in, obviously, because he needs a new front wing. Well, this has been chaos to start. We're only on lap 2. And the virtual safety car deployed. Bortoleto getting the hard tires on. Wow. Straight into the wall he went. Lunging on the outside. And straight down the back of that hairpin and into the wall. Bonfire. Kimi pushed me out, he says. Kimi Antonelli. He didn't leave the space. Always you must leave the space. And yes, Yuki Tsunoda diving into the pits. He started on the soft tire, of course. I completely understand the strategy for Tsunoda. He was all the way back down in 15th or 17th somewhere to start. So there we've seen a few of those lower teams dive in and get essentially a free pit stop under the virtual safety car. A full safety car, obviously, would have benefited them a lot more. Virtual safety car still out, though, and they've switched to the hards as well, except for Pierre Gasly, who swapped over to the mediums. But I can't remember, but I think Gasly started on the hards, and maybe that's why he swapped over to medium. So there we go. Cheeky Red Bull pit stop playing the game, says Hooves of Thunder. Zaid Whelan already on lap 2 and safety cars out. Max will swap to mediums soon. Yeah, I'll tell you what, $1.25 for the bettors amongst us. $1.25 it was paying for a safety car. You would have already been paid out lap 2 of the race. I mean, it's Monaco, right? It's a street circuit and a very, very tight one at that. As 23 Norco points out, the chances of a safety car, massive on a street circuit. So we're on lap 3 of 78. Some of those back teams have got themselves not really a free pit stop, but a little bonus stop under the virtual safety car. I mean, what do they say? Virtual safety car essentially halves the time of your pit stop. So they've got themselves a nice little bonus. Yuki Tsunoda might win the Monaco Grand Prix. How would that be? Wouldn't make Liam Lawson very happy, but as we get a replay here of the race start, Lando Norris, I thought he got a good jump, but Leclerc got alongside him very early. Norris had that little lock-up, and they pulled away quickly from Piastri and Verstappen. But wouldn't say that it was a clean start from Lando Norris. Bruzzy boy, you took a roughie 500 for Gasly to make the podium. And I tell you what, he got that sort of half bonus pit stop there early, Pierre Gasly. Oi, actually, here's a funny story. Pierre Gasly, I tell this story a fair bit. So if you've ever joined me for one of my Formula One streams before, you've probably already heard this. And so therefore, I apologize. This is an old story. But for anyone who plays the F1 manager games, we're off and racing again. Track clear. Green flags are out. We're off and running again here on lap 4. So for those who play the Formula One manager video games, I play as Aston Martin, and one of my first signings was Pierre Gasly. When I got my first race win, Pierre Gasly's soundbite for winning the race is, I don't know how I've done that. Formula One manager, you did Pierre Gasly dirty with that one. Off and racing we go again. There was a yellow flag. Well, there was a virtual safety car. Bortoleto put it into the wall coming out of the hairpin. 5 laps in, we can see that Tsunoda, Gasly, Behrman, and Bortoleto took advantage of that under the virtual safety car and got themselves a pit stop. Mandatory 2 stops in this race, of course. An interesting little strategic gameplay that we'll see as this race continues on. I dare say, pretty much guaranteed. Jesus. Pretty much guaranteed for another safety car at some point, surely. See if I can put the timings up. There we go. So 5 laps in, we've got Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar, Alonso, and Hamilton. No change to the order in that top 7. Ocon, Lawson, and Albon. No change in that top 10, basically. But very few advantages unless there was a pit from any of the guys further up. So we'll keep an eye on the times here. Keep an eye on Max Verstappen in 4th, who is already dropping back there on that slower compound, which is exactly what we expected. Seems like the Red Bull strategy was to go short, take the risk with Tsunoda. Tsunoda started on the soft tyre, so I think he was always going to come in early no matter what. And they put Verstappen on the hard. Seems like he was going to go long no matter what for that first stint. 6 laps in of 78. 78 sounds like such a long time, doesn't it? I'll say one of my favorite Monaco Grand Prix moments was good old Kimi Räikkönen. Was anybody watching when Kimi Räikkönen had that crash, had that DNF, and he didn't go back to the pit lane? He just went and hung out on his yacht. He went, screw it, I'm not going back to the pits. I'm just going to hang out here. Norris pulling away at the front. McLarens love that clean air, of course. And it was a wonder if Ferrari had the race pace to keep up. 1.5 seconds clear of Leclerc and, Piastri. Piastri's fallen 5.5 seconds back. And Verstappen even further back on that hard tyre. We were expecting him to drop off like that, though, on the slower compound. Ruzzy boy, Tsunoda was 500 to make the podium. Also was going to go it, but thought, nah, he will crash. Well, put the 500 on, not 500, but put the bet on Tsunoda to crash, Tsunoda to DNF. I'm not sure what your bookmaker is, but my bookie has that market. I remember I made a killing once a few years back on a Max Verstappen DNF. As we know, that doesn't happen very often. But I made a fortune off that wager. 7 laps in, Norris pulling away almost 2 seconds now on Charles Leclerc. And Piastri is just maintaining a 2-second lead over Verstappen. Piastri not really going for it. He's not going hard here. He's just maintaining himself here in third place. Happy to just chill and make sure he maintains that advantage over Max in fourth. They might try and split the drivers here somewhat, McLaren. And maybe now Piastri's race is just to make sure that he stays ahead of Verstappen. Yes, indeed, Collingwood, Loris. Good old Nando Loris. Lando Norris with the lockup going into turn one. It was nearly chaos. Charles Leclerc, though, forward thinking. He saw it. He reacted in time and managed to retreat and just fall in behind Lando. I mean, they were both going into the wall. If he attempted any move, as Ollie Behrman... Oh, no, Behrman... I don't know what happened there. Oh, Behrman. No, I don't know what's going on. Ollie Behrman's tracker is flipping out. It keeps saying that he's gained a place, but I'm looking at the map and I'm like, nope, how could he have gained a place? Oh, he's jumped ahead of Pierre Gasly. Oh, because Gasly's tire's off. Pierre Gasly's axle is broken in half. We're going to get another safety car. Will we see more drivers dive into the pits now? Well, that explains that. Gasly's like, I've got no brakes. Gasly, you've got no front left either. It's hanging on by a thread. Gasly gets himself off the track. He's done extremely well there on 3 tires to get around and get himself back into the pits. There goes your Gasly pet, Bruzzy boy. Oh, no. Oh, there's debris everywhere. This could be a full safety car. There's debris left on the track. Oh, God, Gasly's still going to the pit lane. He's got no brakes, of course. That's why Gasly was on the radio saying he's got no brakes. He was forewarning the team. Like, when I come into the pits, understand, I can't stop. Gasly is, like, all the way down the pit lane. He is currently outside Carlos Sainz's box. And now he's finally come to a rest at the Williams pit wall. That was fascinating. Well, that's why he was on the radio saying he had no brakes. Oh, he's clipped Tsunoda. Well, unbelievable that Tsunoda's got no damage from that either. So that's what's happened. Gasly put on the brakes a little bit too late. Tried to jump to the outside. Oh, and then he's nearly wiped out his teammate coming back onto the track. That was all kinds of chaos. There's debris all over the track. Pit lane entry is closed. Tsunoda's on the radio asking if he's an idiot. What is he doing? Well, he's gone straight into the back of Tsunoda. Somehow, Tsunoda's back rear hasn't exploded in that contact. Unbelievable that he didn't get a puncher. And the pit lane's closed because they've got to get Gasly back to his proper pit box. So nobody can pit. Yellow flag conditions remain. So even if they do call a virtual safety car here, nobody can pit. Yellow flags only. Well, part of Gasly's front wing was sitting on the track. I can't understand how they've been able to clear that debris without calling for a safety car, a virtual safety car at least. Oh, Verstappen's on the radio. I don't know what he's whinging about. Max is having a cry about something. Surprise, surprise. Sorry, Collingwood. Green flag, track clear. Well, I don't know how they've managed to do that without virtual safety car. There was clear debris on the track there. Gasly's front wing was left on the track, half of it anyway. So they've done a good job there to clear that. Pit lane entries now open. 11 laps in. We've seen all kinds of chaos here. And people say that the Monaco Grand Prix is boring, huh? I mean, maybe in terms of overtaking, but it's certainly been an eventful race as Charles Leclerc is now within DRS range of Norris. I don't know what's happened to Lando, but he has lost a lot of time. Leclerc putting on pressure. Verstappen's in DRS range of Piastri. Overtakes, of course, very, very difficult on this track. But what's going on with the McLarens? Both of them losing pace. And let's not forget, Verstappen's on the hard tyre. Well, maybe the hard tyre's just holding up a little bit better, and it's just starting to fire. Doesn't explain Lando Norris, who's re-extended his lead. Both of them now have re-extended their lead outside DRS range. Yeah, Neonello, pretty much a majority of the overtaking at Monaco happens in the pit lane. I mean, that's just a completely honest answer. There are like one or two spots where overtaking is more than possible, but it's highly risky still. Alonso's on the radio. Do you think the car in front respected all the yellows? Who's in front of Alonso at the moment? Isaac Hadjar. Okay, so Alonso's been on the radio dobbing in Isaac Hadjar as Hulkenberg dives into the pits. And that's a quick stop there for Hulkenberg. 2.4 seconds. Neonello, is it true the size of Monaco itself could fit inside Central Park, New York? I have not heard that myself, but if that is true, that's a very interesting little piece of trivia. 13 laps in. Norris from Leclerc, from Piastri, from Verstappen, from Hadjar. Alonso and Hamilton, no change to the top 7. Ocon's overtaken Lawson, but Lawson, I believe, has pitted, if I'm not mistaken. "14 laps in." Oh, Norris is on the radio. Lando, we see abrasion on the front left, but similar across all cars we care about. So that could just be those medium tires starting to fall away. Maybe it was a little bit of a masterstroke to put Max on the hard tire as Alpine. Colapinto's dived into the pits, and he's off and going. 2.5 the pit stop. The Colapinto, he'll come back out in last place on the mediums. "14 of 78 laps. Yes, Neonello, it's obviously a brand new rule introduced to try and make the racing a little bit more exciting, is the claim. And it's going to be very interesting to see how teams play it. We might get a big, big surprise in this race once all is said and done. Hadjar's in the pits. Hadjar pits. From 6th place, he now drops down. And he's going to come out. It looks like he's got plenty of space to come back out into the race in 8th spot ahead of Lawson. So you've got the two racing balls now, 8th and 9th. Hadjar, the first of the top 10 to come into the pits. And he's gone on to softs. Okay. Interesting. Isaac Hadger switching to the soft tire. Curious. And this is the beauty of what's happened, right? We are seeing so many different strategies. Oh, Leclerc radio. What do you want me to do? You want me to keep pushing? We stay out. We let him go. Plan B, stay with Norris. Okay, so Ferrari's plan is just try and stick with Lando Norris and keep the pressure on. Neonello, yes, Hamilton got a 3-place grid drop. Impeding Max Verstappen. I don't know whether it was during qualifying. I'm assuming it was qualifying. Because I can't imagine a practice session spilling over to the race, so presumably it had to have happened in qualifying. But I didn't see it personally myself. I just heard about it after the fact. So, Piastri, at one point, he had Verstappen right on his tail. He has now opened up 2.7 seconds, starting to cruise away. So, those McLarens were obviously just harvesting power. They both fell into DRS range of the drivers behind them, but they've pulled away again. "16 laps in, and no change. Apart from, obviously, Isaac Hadger dropping down to 8th on the back of that pit stop. And into the pits comes one of the Aston Martins. It's Fernando Alonso. Drops down behind Hamilton now. Where will he come out? Ocon now comes into the pits. All right. The top 10 are starting to come in. Alonso's in. Ocon's in. Let's see if the other teams start to respond. 17 laps in. Hadger reclaims 6th. Norris starting to break away from Charles Leclerc. He got that radio. Oh, hang on. Hamilton's on the radio. What do you need from me? Push now. This is our race. All right. Whatever you say. Yeah, so Leclerc was right on Norris's tail at one point. Lando in that clean air. He's just pulling away at will at the moment. And Piastri cruising away from Max. Hamilton. They're in 5th. Looks like my map's frozen. Let's get a refresh on the map. Oh, somebody's furious. Who's that? Somebody on the radio was just Isaac Hadger, furious on the team radio. Not a happy boy. Oh, we've got a freeze on the map. It does that from time to time. Hopefully it'll be back up and running not too soon. Not that there's a whole lot happening in terms of track position. Hamilton now coming into the pits. All right. Lewis Hamilton pitting from 5th spot. We're getting closer and closer to those top positions. And Hamilton goes from the medium to the hards. That was a slick pit stop there from Ferrari. Razor, ahoy, mate. How are you doing? As Hamilton comes back out in 5th place, holds his position ahead of Isaac Hadger. So that is a solid pit stop for Ferrari and a solid little piece of strategy. You don't get to say that very often about the Ferraris. And McLaren now, who are they bringing in? Will it be the race leader, Lando Norris? Will it be Oscar Piastri in third? It is Norris hitting first. Lando Norris from the race lead into the pits. He is the first of the top three, first of the top four to come into the pits. And it is a good one. Onto the hard tyre he goes. Where will he come back out? Will he stay ahead of Hamilton? Hamilton's coming through, but nowhere near quick enough. He's a long way off. Hamilton now just turning into the main straight, and Norris is out of the pits in fourth spot. Charles Leclerc, the new race leader. But, of course, yet to pit. Piastri in second. He's got 3 seconds on Max Verstappen in third. Max, of course, started on the hard tyre. Oh, God, if there is a safety car of some sort, then this works out perfectly for our good friend Max Verstappen. Chase Keeble, ahoy, mate. Got to go for our Aussie boy. Got to go for our Aussie boy, Oscar Piastri. Oh, speak of the devil, he's on the radio. Piastri's coming into the pits. He's told to box. All right. Both McLarens now have been in. Where does Piastri come out? Oh, it's a poor pit stop. They've done him dirty there, McLaren. They have done him dirty. Oscar Piastri, a very slow pit stop. He comes out in fourth spot. They're still ahead of Lewis Hamilton there, but geez, that was a poor pit stop. And not surprisingly, he is not happy. He is not happy at all. Ryan, ahoy, mate. What happened to Norris? Nothing. He's just pitted. Just dived into the pits, that's all. Leclerc and Verstappen, both yet to pit. Mandatory 2 stops, of course. Mandatory 2 stops introduced this year. "22 laps in, we're still having map issues. Incidentally, trying to get that sorted out. Don't know exactly what's happening there with the map. It has completely conked itself out. Any movement from the Ferrari pit wall yet? Doesn't look like it. If there's a safety car dropping in at some point, boy, this will bring the race perfectly in their favor. Razor says McLaren stopped. Okay, here we go. Ferrari out in the pit lane. Charles Leclerc in the pits. So, on the hard tyre, Max Verstappen now leads this race. If there's a safety car now, by God, this has just fallen the way of Red Bull. If there's a safety car. It's gone down at the moment, Razor, for some reason. I really should have a backup in place, shouldn't I? I wonder if I can find a backup. But yeah, for some reason, it's completely dropped off and has decided to not work. So Norris did come back out in second place. But Verstappen on the hard tire, leading the race. Honestly, a safety car now. Oh, that'd be the worst thing in the world. It really would. I'll see if I can find a new track map. Oh, Piastri's on the radio. Now what's the plan? Because that didn't work very well. Understandably, Oscar is furious. A really poor pit stop. They did him absolutely dirty with that one. It was sad to see. It really was. Oh, man. We love talking about conspiracy theories here. And one of the big conspiracy theories is that maybe they'll start sabotaging Oscar to focus on Lando. I mean, I really, really hope that that is not the case. You would hate to think that that's a legitimate thing. But you see things like this start to happen, and you have to wonder. Molly, ahoy, Molly. Exactly, Razor. Zach loves Lando. He did say that it was going to be the year of Lando, the era of Lando Norris. Is there some inter-team shenanigans? All I'm doing is asking the question. I'm not saying anything. All right, so the track map is down. I do apologize for that. I'm not in control of it. I'll try and find a backup. I'll see if I can find another one. So Verstappen, obviously, yet to pit. If there's a safety car, this race really starts to fall the way of Red Bull, and that will just annoy me no end. Nick Clark says, never have a Pommy and an Aussie in the same team. There should just be a team with 2 Australian drivers. Because then we wouldn't get what happened with Max and Danny Rick as well, right? In theory. You would hope. So Verstappen, 26 laps in. Richard Trainer, ahoy, mate. Your pipe is empty? Oh, no. Well, that's never good news. George Russell, who's been very quiet, is on the radio now. Nothing too much to report from Georgie Porgy. Odd Poppard, ahoy, mates. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'll see. I might have found a backup to our map. Oh, no. This is just live timing. Oh, no, here we go. Wait, okay. We'll try and figure this out. Our map has deserted us. It has crashed. So we're trying to sort it out. Richard Trainer, you've got a mate headed around. And he got you into E1 racing. Oh, there you go. Very nice. 28 laps in, Verstappen still yet to pit is why he's leading the race. And Red Bull, they started him on the hard compound, and they are now just praying for a safety car. I tell you what, if an Isaac Hadger or a Liam Lawson goes into the wall at any point here, some serious questions will be asked. Guaranteed. They'll be asked by me, no less. If one of the racing balls ends up in the wall, a safety car would obviously be a huge, huge benefit to Max Verstappen, who's flying out there in the clean air on that hard compound. 28 laps in. He's got to pit twice, though, remember. So, obviously, a freebie would be very, very good for the Red Bulls. He's catching up to the back markers. Oh, Max is pit. Okay. Max Verstappen getting ready to pit. Into the pits he goes. All right. Max Verstappen in for his first pit stop. Everybody else in that top 10 has had at least one. Isaac Hadger has had 2 pit stops. Okay, Verstappen comes out in 3rd spot. Where's Piastri? Piastri's coming through. Piastri goes through. And Verstappen will come out in 4th position. Okay, natural order is restored there in that top 4. There we go. Verstappen goes on to the mediums. Obviously starting on the hard. He should have some pace to try and catch up to those McLarens. But still, what a turnaround that was. Ollie Behrman, contact there with Lance Stroll, it seems, but no damage done. "29 laps done. Lando Norris back in the lead. Lewis Hamilton still in 5th. Alonso 6th. So, Isaac Hadger. This is the interesting part now. Isaac Hadger has had his 2 pit stops. If he can get himself in a position, any sort of position, we might see Isaac Hadger win the Monaco Grand Prix. How wild would that be? He obviously needs a few things to go his way as Norris is on the radio. Why are there no blue flags? He wants to get past. He's fighting for position. He wants to get himself through. Calling for the blue flags. We're still trying to sort out our live map, by the way. Apologies. All right. I think we've got it sorted. I just need to pop it over here and get it set up. Bit choppy, but still, it'll be better than nothing. So we'll get that sorted out. Richard, that's why you were asking earlier. Yeah, fair enough then, mate. All right. Do bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm going to try and get this map sorted out. It's a little bit clunky, but at least it's something. For some reason, the other one's not working, so we shall use this one instead. I'll just get it set up on the screen for you. Where is it? And yeah, then we'll be off and running. 31 laps in. Norris from Leclerc from Piastri. Piastri has set the fastest lap. Verstappen in fourth, Hamilton in fifth. So no real change there to the top five, who have all pitted once, but it's Isaac Hadjar I'm keeping my eye on. Isaac Hadjar with the 2 pit stops under his belt already makes things very interesting indeed. We're on board here with Lando Norris. Okay. This is a joke, says Charles Leclerc. He's not a happy boy. Oh, because they're all trying to get through these back markers is what's happening. All the drivers want to get through these back markers, and it's proving to be quite chaotic. Goodness me. This is all fun and games, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. All right, like I said, it's a little bit clunky, but at least it's something. It's up there. So therefore, perhaps it's better than nothing. Oh, and now that I've gone to all that trouble, the other one's back up and running, I think. Bloody hell. Well, Maine, says Go Oscar. As poor Pierre Gasly there in the pit wall watching on. Pierre Gasly had his race ended very early on. The poor bugger. Verstappen on the radio. My shifts feel like Monaco Grand Prix 1972. Well, I wish that you were from 1972, Max. Then we wouldn't be dealing with you and your nonsense. But I digress. 33 laps in. Oh, Red Bull definitely hoping for a safety car. That'd be good for them. Although Max has already pitted. 33 laps in. Albon's told to box now. This, I believe, would be Albon's second pit stop. So he's been told to come in. It's interesting, all the different pit stop strategies that we've seen. It's made it a good lot of fun. Yeah, catch you later, Jace. Let's see what sort of state I'm in the morning. Because after this race, I've still got some setting up to do in the studio. I've got some things still to get ready for AEW Double or Nothing here on the Waste of Motorsports tomorrow morning. "34 laps in. Okay, everybody has pitted now except for Carlos Sainz and the 2 Mercedes. So what are Mercedes up to? Hoping for a safety car, presumably. I mean, could this race go the way of Mercedes? A perfectly timed safety car. Whoops. Okay. Some random footy players there. I'm just trying to get the track back on TikTok now. Proving quite difficult. We're getting there, though. We are getting there. We had some very unfortunate technical difficulties. that we had to get sorted out. Hopefully, that's all sorted out now. And this should be our live track feed to see us through to the end of the race, theoretically speaking. There we go. Lando Norris has got a 6.5 second lead out in front. Seems like this race is nicely in control. But you just never know what will happen, do you? I think we're all sorted out now. All the streams should have the track map back up and running. Pretty one, ahoy there. Yes, indeed. As Molly said, the safety car just, if there's been a crash or something, debris needs to be cleaned up off the track. As exactly as Molly has said there. 36 laps in. Pretty one, Max was P1. What happened, please? Okay, yes, exactly as you've pointed out there. Pretty one, Max started on the hard tire. Everybody else around him started on the medium. Therefore, their tires started to fall away a little earlier. Max was the last of that top sort of 5 or 6 to pit. So he would have been hoping for a longer stint and then a safety car. If he was able to pit under a safety car, chances are he maintains that top position or at least jumps up a few places. But it didn't quite eventuate there for Red Bull, and he tumbled back down the order into his 4th position. He's pitted now, yes. But I'm saying he didn't pit. That's how he took the race lead initially, was the question. He's obviously pitted now, and he dropped back down to 4th. Esteban Ocon's had 2 pit stops as well. Ollie Behrman and Colapinto have done their mandatory 2 stops, 37 laps in. So I wonder what compounds they're on. If they're able to see the race through to the end. As Bortoletto comes in again. Well, if you pit, you lose time, and therefore probably lose positions as well, depending on how much of a lead you've built up. But the advantage, obviously, of coming out of the pits is you're on the fresher compound. So you're on the fresh tires. Fresh tires would usually equate to faster race speeds. So, but you do, of course, lose all that time in the pit lane. 38 laps of 78 done. It's Norris from Leclerc, from Piastri, from Verstappen, from Hamilton. No change to that top 5. All right, I'll have myself a quick break, and we'll be back to see out the rest of the race. All right. Let's see this race through, hopefully. Hopefully no more toilet breaks. 39 laps in. And it'll be interesting to see these second pit stops from the top teams, the top race leaders, and how that compares. Oh, Ferrari's out. Ferrari's out. So this will be Hamilton. Oh, they're wheeling it back in. I wonder if somebody pitted while I was gone there. The 2 pit stop strategy, of course, that's what we've been talking about mainly throughout the course of this race. Carlos Sainz still yet to pit at all. He hasn't jumped in at all, Carlos. Norris on the radio. The gap to Leclerc is 5. If we can use some more pace, we should, please. So, McLaren pit wall wanting Lando Norris to get on with it a little bit here. 40 laps in. They want to build up, obviously, as much of a gap as possible. There's still 38 laps to go. And on a track like this, I mean, anticipate probably another safety car, potentially 2. Especially in the areas of the track where some of the cars are built up. I mean, I'm thinking at least 1 more before this race ends. We're on board with Carlos Sainz, looking out his rear camera. Got somebody right on his tail. That would be George Russell. And the Mercedes also haven't pitted, if I'm not mistaken. So Sainz, Russell, and Antonelli, the 3 drivers left out there who have not pitted once. 40 laps in. Geez, I wonder what their plan is. AP, thanks, mate, for the rose. How are you doing, mate? And Fernando Alonso, a dejected figure, strolling down the sidewalk of the track, out of the race. So, no Fernando Alonso, no Pierre Gasly for the remainder of this race. Wonder if any of them own a yacht. I was talking earlier about one of my favorite moments from Monaco Grand Prix history was Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen crashing and then not going back to the pit lane, but electing to go hang out on his yacht instead. That was some fun times. Fun times. So 41 laps in, Piastri still has the fastest lap. And we probably won't see too much really start to happen before that second round of pit stops. Oh, Albon's told to box. Okay. Albon boxing from 9th. This will be his second pit stop. "42 laps in. Liam Lawson into the pits as well. Okay, so that's 8th and 9th. They've responded. Liam Lawson in the Racing Ball responds to that pit stop from Alex Albon in the Williams. "42 laps in. Juancito Videla, ahoy there. Colapinto Loveheart. Franco Colapinto. Down there in 17th place at the moment, a lap back. But I do believe he's had his 2 pit stops. Thank you very much for the rose. Juancito. 42 laps in. Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton. No change to the top 5. Isaac Hadger, though, I'm keeping an eye on him. He's still there. He's holding on to 6th place. He's done his 2 pit stops. He's on the hard tire. Could he whisper this one home? A late safety car would put him in a huge advantage. Well, not necessarily, but it brings him into the conversation at least. Because obviously he would be on very old hard tires, and the teams pitting under the safety car would be on fresh, whatever compound they go with. So, but overtaking, very difficult on this track, of course. Track position is king. It'll make it interesting. Alonso's out. Yeah, Fernando Alonso. I didn't catch exactly what happened to him. There was no yellow flags or anything, so I think he managed to get the car off track safely, it seems, without causing any issue. So maybe, yeah, just some sort of mechanical failure. I will try and find out for you, though, because, yeah, that happened when I popped out to have a quick toilet break. And when I came back, I saw him dejectedly walking down the pit lane. So we'll see if we can find out what happened. Smoke coming out the back of his car. And and it was removed quickly. So there we go. Yes, that all happened when I popped off for the loo. Thank you, Jay Padilla. Thank you very much for that piece of information. Very much appreciated. 44 laps in, and Oscar Piastri slides and clips the wall. Well, that was nearly disaster for Oscar. Boy, oh boy. Oscar Piastri. The rear slides out. And he has nearly gone straight into the wall. He's done well to recover. And he just ends up clipping it with his rear tire. Nearly disaster for our Aussie boy, Oscar Piastri. That would have shaken things up because Piastri crashing out would put Verstappen on the podium. God, that was close. Oversteer in turn one. Anyway, he did really well to hold on there and not completely crash out. Staying in third spot. He lost some ground, though, some time. And Verstappen now only 1.7 seconds behind him. Lawson's on the radio. Car behind is now Sainz. Carlos Sainz, no pits yet. I wonder what what is the plan of Williams? What is the plan of the Mercedes? A mandatory 2 pit stop race. We're 45 laps in, and they are the only ones yet to pit. You have to wonder what their plan is. Mandatory 2 pit stops. Nothing for Sainz, nothing for the 2 Mercedes. Are they just riding their luck out here and hoping for a safety car? And then hoping for another safety car? Maybe they forgot. Yes, Jay Padilla says maybe they forgot. Honestly, I hate to be harsh and critical, but that sounds more like a Ferrari thing to do, right? Ferrari are the team that have history of ballsing up strategies. Oh, that'd be funny though, wouldn't it? Yep, we just straight out forgot. But it'll be interesting to see. So, out of the top 10, Hadjar in 6th has pitted twice. He's done his 2. Ocon's done 2. Lawson's done 2. And Albon's done his 2. Ollie Behrman, Colapinto, and Bortoletto have done their 2. Hulkenberg's in the pits now to do his 2nd. It's been interesting to see the contrast in strategies. This was our biggest talking point of this race going into it. What would the pit strategies be to get this mandatory 2? I thought that somebody would take the risk and jump in early. That was, of course, Yuki Tsunoda, Ollie Behrman. Behrman had to, though. He had to get his front wing replaced. He ended up in the wall, but Yeah, Red Bull, of course, took the chance there with Yuki Tsunoda. Bruzzy boy. I hope they have a plan because you've got a buck on signs paying 151 for a podium. New channel, ahoy there, welcome along. I wouldn't have minded, actually, I mean, had I known, obviously it's easy to say this with the benefit of hindsight, but I wonder what Isaac Hadjar was paying for a podium. Because honestly, a safety car or two, he's already done his 2 pit stops on that hard tyre. In 6th place. I wonder how far back he is. Where's the live timing? When they bring back up the intervals, I'll see how far back he is. I mean, he might be too far back for it to make any difference anyway, but yeah, it's interesting. He's the only one of that top 6 that's had the 2 stops. It'd just be crazy to see Isaac Hadjar on the podium. 48 laps into this one, 30 to go. I don't think we've had a single overtake, not in the top 10 anyway, not a single overtake on track. The only overtakes we've seen is in the pit lane. Russell's on the radio. He's driving dangerously slow. He's just slamming on the brakes at all areas. George Russell not happy with Alex Albon. Well, I've got to say that Alex Albon is forming quite a queue behind him, led by George Russell, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Behrman. All in that DRS train behind Albon. Molly. Oh, Piastri's in the pits. Okay. Oscar Piastri, the first of the top 5 to come in for his 2nd pit stop. And he's got plenty of time on, well, he's got enough time on Lewis Hamilton here. Hamilton now just coming around into the main straight. So Piastri will come out ahead of Lewis Hamilton and hold on to 4th spot. Pushed on now, Max, says the Red Bull pit wall. Piastri. Oi. Interesting that McLaren have made that call. What they've done, McLaren, is they've put Piastri in a really awkward position. Verstappen, radio. Okay, they're just telling him to get a move along. Hamilton is in 5th place. And Kimi Antonelli is in 12th, yet to pit. Oh, Ferrari's out. Leclerc's in the pits from 2nd place. Charles Leclerc's responded to that pit stop from Piastri. A 2.2 pit stop. That was fast. And Verstappen goes through into 2nd. Leclerc will come out ahead of Piastri, who is now just turning onto the main straight. So he had plenty of time. Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, 1 and 2, still yet to do their 2nd stop. "100% pace, please." McLaren have jumped onto the radio and told Lando Norris, time to get a move along. 28 laps to go. So Norris and Verstappen have only pitted once. They've still got to come in again. Leclerc, Piastri, they've done there too. Hamilton's still yet to pit again. And this will be Lando Norris now coming into the pits. Here he comes from the race lead. Lando Norris in for his 2nd stop. Verstappen will pass and go into the lead. Wow, Willie, he's coming onto the main straight now. No, he won't, because he's coming into the pits. Oh, never mind. Verstappen goes through. The Red Bull are in the pits, obviously, for Tsunoda. Tsunoda from 13th will have his 2nd stop. Verstappen takes the race lead, but still has to stop again. 51 laps in. They are just hoping for a safety car. But even with the safety car, I don't know that Verstappen's going to be far enough ahead. He'll obviously get fresh tires, but does that really matter on this track? We have seen no overtakes in the top 10 on track. It's all been in the pits. So it doesn't really matter. Alex Albon's on the radio. Intentional corner cutting shouldn't be allowed. Well, I don't think it is allowed, Alex. I'm sure that will be investigated. Whoever he's complaining about, presumably it'll be George Russell or somebody around him. So Verstappen in the race lead. Are they hoping for a safety car? He's only got 5 seconds. 5 and a bit seconds on Lando Norris anyway, so he's not far enough ahead. Even with a safety car pit stop, he would still come out behind. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's what Alex Albon was complaining about. George Russell leaving the track. Russell's on the radio claiming he was just avoiding a collision, which is honestly probably fair enough. But he has passed off the track, avoiding a collision or not. He's passed off the track, gained an advantage, and probably needs to give that spot back. So I think a penalty incoming for George Russell. And still, no pit stop for Carlos Sainz. Oh, no, Sainz has pitted now, sorry. No pit stop for Russell or Antonelli. I think Mercedes, what's going on? 52 laps in, a mandatory 2-stop race, and both Mercedes are yet to pit. This makes no sense at all. This is the craziest thing I've seen. I mean, I just wonder what they're hoping for. What's their game plan here? As Verstappen continues to lead, but he does have to make another stop. 4.5 seconds. Norris closing the gap quickly. You would think that Verstappen hoping for a safety car of some sort, because at least that would limit the damage. Okay, drive-through penalty for Russell, leaving the track and gaining an advantage. His excuse of avoiding a collision is not going to hold up. The stewards. Oh, now I thought they were showing a replay, but it's Kimi Antonelli doing the exact same thing at the exact same part of the track. Antonelli has now left the track. He's going to cop a penalty. Oh, no, he's not, because he just gave the place back. Oh, that was insane. I honestly thought they were showing a replay. But it wasn't. It was Kimi Antonelli doing the same thing. Crazy. Marcus Harris, ahoy, mates. I think Oscar's pretty well resigned to third place. Unless Charles Leclerc goes off the track. I think he's resigned to third place. Pretty one. George Russell left the track. He cut across the corner and overtook. Didn't give the place back. The stewards were straight onto it. Drive-through penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. And then Kimi Antonelli did the exact same thing, but Antonelli slowed down and gave the position back to Alex Albon. So, well, I tell you what, if Mercedes had some sort of miracle plan up their sleeve, it's gone and ballsed up now because he hasn't pitted. He's got a drive-through penalty, meaning he has to serve the penalty in the pit lane. This has really been ballsed up by Mercedes. They're just letting him know on the radio now, we've got a drive-through penalty, but we'll delay it as long as we can. To be honest, I'd prefer not to speak. Okay, George is not a happy boy. George's response to the pit wall was, to be honest, I'd prefer not to speak. They haven't even pitted. I can't believe it. We'll delay it for as long as possible. It's 55 laps into a 78-lap race where they have to do 2 pit stops, and they're now talking about delaying a drive-through penalty. I've got to say, this makes no sense at all from Mercedes. None. I do not understand this in the slightest. What are they doing? Does anybody have any idea what Mercedes are doing here today? Box for penalty. Okay, well, they put that off for as long as possible, didn't they? Half a lap. What is going on with Mercedes? We'll put it off for as long as possible. And they've told him to box the very same lap. And in comes one of the Williams. That's Sainz in for his second stop. Carlos Sainz in for his second. And Russell in to serve his penalty. As Sainz has a little slip exiting the pit lane. But he comes out in 9th. Russell has maintained position in 10th. So I think even with a safety car, Hadjar's a lap down. He's done his 2 laps. So no chance there for Hadjar. Unless everybody crashes out. That'd be pretty wild. Norris on the radio. Okay, mate, you're doing really good. Obviously, Verstappen will try and hang it out for a virtual safety car or worse. But honestly, even a virtual safety car, full safety car, Norris is close enough to strike. Oh, a red flag. Okay. Now, there's a little caveat I hadn't thought of. A red flag would obviously be a huge advantage for Red Bull. Okay, keep an eye on those racing bulls. Into the pits comes Hamilton for his second stop. Okay, so Red Bull. Max Verstappen holding out for a red flag. I forgot about that. The red flag obviously would give them a free stop, completely free stop, and would restart the race in the lead. That would be the worst possible thing for those of us that dislike Red Bull. 57 laps of 78 done. Norris is only 1.2. He's almost in DRS range of Max Verstappen. It'll be interesting to see if he chances his arm at all for an overtake. See if he's got some extra grip somewhere, some extra pace in a DRS zone. Very hard to overtake on this track, though, as we know. But Norris closing in. So Verstappen is the last of the top 9 drivers to his second pit. He's only come in once. The 2 Mercedes. I don't know what's going on at Mercedes. Russell's come in and served his penalty. Kimi Antonelli is yet to pit with 20 laps to go. Just a second behind. But here's what's happening. Verstappen has got Norris now in DRS range, but Charles Leclerc only 1.2 behind him. Chase Pitter, ahoy mates. Worst F1 race I've worked in a long time. Drivers holding up others instead of racing. You know what? I have noticed that a few times, actually. There's been a few drivers on the radio complaining about others going too slow or ignoring blue flags, that sort of thing. It's been constant through the radio. And we're getting a replay all the way back to the opening laps of the Yuki Tsunoda Pierre Gasly incident. Well, I can't really call it a Yuki Tsunoda Pierre Gasly incident. It was all Pierre Gasly. The 59 laps in. Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc. Verstappen still to pit for a second time. On board here with Charles Leclerc. And he has got Lando Norris now in his sights. A DRS train has formed out the front. So, this is what we're talking about. Even a safety car now. They are right on Max's tail. Piastri's within 7 seconds. Even under a safety car, Max would still drop down back to 4th spot. A red flag, though, with 18 laps to go. A red flag brings this one home for Red Bull, you would think. Keep an eye on those racing bulls. I'm telling you, Conspiracy Theory Jones here says keep an eye on those racing bulls. Do not be surprised to see one of them end up in a wall. $18 laps to go. Max Verstappen still needs to pit again. Lando Norris right on his tail, but he has managed to back him up into the sights of Charles Leclerc, but I can't imagine any overtaking getting done here on this track, on track. It's all been done in the pit lane. Be interesting to see what happens these last 18 laps. Lando happy to just drop back. He's out of DRS range now of Max. Happy to just build up his battery and hold off Charles Leclerc from behind. But Charles Leclerc, I mean, does he take a risk here and try and get an overtake done? That's another little storyline that's now developed in this race. Charles Leclerc essentially has got nothing to lose. Lando Norris fighting for a championship. Leclerc, nothing to lose. Knows that Verstappen's still got to pit again. Does he fight for the lead? Does he take the chance? An all or nothing lunge. I mean, Norris would back out because he doesn't want to lose points in the title fight, you would think. I just don't know if Leclerc's that aggressive. Everyone seems happy to just mosey on along at the moment. I mean, Norris knows that he's just has to hold off Leclerc, stay with Verstappen, and he's going to have clean air. Probably that would make it comfortable enough to see the race home. So 62 of 78 laps done. When does Verstappen come in? Science radio. Towards the end, we'll swap the cars back. Okay, let's do our race until the last lap. You never know what's going to happen. Once again, Carlos Sainz on the team radio, dropping the knowledge bombs. He used to do it all the time at Ferrari, right? And now he's doing it again. Dylan, ahoy, mate. Yes, Verstappen does still have to stop. He's the only driver in the top 9 that has to have another stop. But as Nick has pointed out, praying for red flags. Verstappen will be putting off that pit stop for as long as possible. If there's red flag, oh man. If there's red flags, I will rage quit so hard. You'll all get a good laugh out of it, I'm sure, but I will rage quit so hard if this son of a bitch gets a red flag. If he pits now, where will he end up? If Verstappen were to pit now, he would come out in fifth place. Fourth place. Fourth place. Ahead of Hamilton and behind Piastri. But he'd be a long way back. So he may as well just stay out in front for as long as possible. Hamilton is still not, even if there's no safety car or virtual safety car or anything, he's still far enough ahead of Hamilton that he'll come out in fourth spot. Hamilton's 44 seconds back. So he's got plenty of time to work with. It's worth the risk, honestly. For Red Bull, it's worth the risk right now to keep him out. It just makes no sense, really, to bring him in. If he's going to finish in fourth anyway, keep him out for as long as possible. So, yeah, 64 laps in, 14 to go. And still no pit stop for Kimi Antonelli. I don't know what Mercedes are doing. No idea. All right. I'll have a quick break. Quick toilet break, and then I'll be back. We'll see the race out. 14 laps to go. All right. 14 laps to go. George Russell is told to box. So George Russell coming in on lap 64. But still no pit stop for Kimi Antonelli. What are they doing there, Mercedes? Crazy strategy. Russell's in the pits from 10th place. Albon goes through. When are they going to bring Kimi Antonelli in? Yeah, Jay Padilla says, at this point, I think Kimi's decided not to pit. I wonder what the penalty is. I mean, is it a disqualification? If it's 10 seconds, he would still be in last place. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Leclerc's on the radio. Norris is slow, he says. Leclerc on the team radio saying Lando is going slow. 66 laps in. Okay, there we go. Martin Brundle just answered that question for me. He must be listening in on the live stream. He just answered the question and said, you will be disqualified. If you don't do the 2 stops, you will be disqualified. Tom Gallagher, ahoy, mate. Max still has a pit stop to go. They are basically... Okay, so the scenario is... If Max were to pit now under normal racing conditions, he would come out in 4th spot behind Piastri ahead of Hamilton. So basically, it doesn't matter what happens now. They may as well keep him out for as long as possible. They're hoping for a red flag. A red flag would bring the race right to Max. That's what they're hoping for. They may as well keep him out there for as long as possible to give that a chance of happening, since he finishes in 4th. No matter what, at this point, a regulation pit stop has him in 4th, no matter when he takes it. So they may as well keep him out there. And George Russell's done his 2 pit stops. Kimi Antonelli is yet to pit, which is We've been trying to make sense of it for a long time. Kimi Antonelli has got 2 pit stops left. George Russell's done his 2. He served a drive-through penalty in his first one. But this is crazy. Unless there's a mistake on the time board, Kimi Antonelli has not pitted 67 laps into this race. But it seems weird that the issue on a time board would be one driver only. I don't think he's pitted. Which is just craziness. Here's Piastri going very close to the barrier. Kissing the barrier on turn 15. Oh, that was close. Xavier, Max Verstappen still has another pit to go. He is 49 seconds ahead of Hamilton. So basically the situation for Red Bull and for Max Verstappen, he still has to pit again. They are leaving him out there. They will leave him out there for as long as possible. They're hoping for a red flag. A red flag brings this race right to them so that because they get that free pit stop. That's what they're holding out for. Whether Max pits now on lap 68 or on lap 77, it doesn't matter at this point. He'll finish in 4th. He's far enough ahead of Hamilton that he's safe from being overtaken. But the rest of the drivers behind him, 2, 3, 4, are close enough that they will overtake him even under a safety car. They are praying for a red flag in these last 10 laps. And those of us that don't like Red Bull are really hoping that they don't get their own way here. So it's Verstappen leading from Norris, who's had Charles Leclerc in his DRS range for the last, like 8 laps at least. And Oscar Piastri comfortably in 4th spot. Kimi Antonelli, it says, is still yet to pit. I find that so hard to believe. Martin Brundle said on the commentary, you will be disqualified if you do not do the mandatory 2. Okay, Verstappen's on the radio. My left-hand tires are dead. Verstappen has said his left tires are dead. Wouldn't it be ironic, hugely ironic, if Verstappen is the one that causes a red flag? How funny would that be? Red Bull have kept him out there on 40-lap-old medium tires, praying for a red flag. Wouldn't it be hilarious if it's Verstappen that crashes and causes the red flag? That would be so funny. Oh, dear. Okay, Kimi Antonelli is on 66-lap-old hard tires. So that would mean he has pitted once. So there you go. There's just something wrong with the timesheet for Kimi Antonelli. He's only on 66 old tires, 66-lap-old tires. So he has pitted once. All right. That makes a little more sense. They're also hoping for some sort of red flag for the second Mercedes driver there. Russell's done his 2. Antonelli has obviously done one. Norris is on the radio. Where is Oscar? I need him to put Charles under some pressure. Okay, well, he's about 3 seconds back from Charles. 2.5. Lando, by the way, how about rather than Oscar putting pressure on Charles, why don't you just, drive away from him yourself, mate? How about that? You're the one that let him into DRS range in the first place. Norris, Max is just backing me up. He's not even pushing. Max doesn't have to push. He's leading the race. I mean, we all know that I'm not a Red Bull or Max Verstappen fan, but geez, that's a little whiny there from Lando Norris, I must say. Max isn't even pushing. He's leading the race. He's dictating the pace. He doesn't have to. But anyway, Lando, not a happy boy. Bruzzy boy. Bruzzy boy says, and if it was vice versa, Lando would not help Oscar. Nick Clark says, a pommy having a whinge? Surely not. And I'm pretty sure that was the exact tone of voice he was using as well. George Russell, we're on board with Russell down there in 11th spot. Nothing really happening there. I don't know why we're on board with him. There's not a car within sight. He's 29 seconds behind Carlos Sainz. So I don't really know why. Okay, Piastri's on the radio. Let's stay close to this fight in front. There could be opportunities here. "72 laps in. Verstappen still hoping and praying for that red flag. It'd be so funny still if he's the one that causes it. It's the only hope for Red Bull at the moment. Otherwise, Verstappen will finish in 4th. Norris just biding his time. Keeping Charles Leclerc at bay. Piastri's now within DRS range of Leclerc. So, he has got the radio message through, obviously. And he will be putting some pressure on Charles Leclerc, just like the team wanted. Oh, he's a good boy, Oscar. Max has still got a pit again, and they'll be putting that off for as long as possible. Kimi Antonelli's in for his second stop. So, 72 laps in. They waited as long as they could there. Kimi Antonelli will come out behind the two Saubers, behind Lance Stroll, and he's in 18th place. It has been a poor day out for Mercedes. George Russell in 10th, Kimi Antonelli in 18th. It has been a poor day out for the Merc drivers. Five laps to go. When will Red Bull concede and bring Max into the pits? When will Red Bull? When will Christian Horner put the call into the Racing Bulls? Isaac Hadge is in 6th. Liam Lawson is in 8th. I mean, they're in the points. They won't want to sacrifice their race just to cause a red flag, you would think. But then, he who signs their paychecks and everything, they might have to give in to his desires, if you know what I mean. 5 laps remaining. And Lando Norris has got the race in control at the moment, assuming that nothing crazy happens. Yuki could do it. Yeah, there you go. Yuki Tsunoda in 12th at the moment. Yuki Tsunoda in 12th. Nothing to lose, apart from reputation. 4 laps to go. Max has to pit. Has to. Otherwise, he gets disqualified. Okay. Leclerc's on the radio, complaining about Lando. He's doing many mistakes at the moment, he says. Well, guess what, Charles? It's up to you to get past him. No point jumping on the radio complaining to your pit wall. If Norris is making a lot of mistakes, as you claim, you have to get past him. Everybody's pitted now. Everybody's done their 2 stops, except for Max Verstappen. Here's the... Oh, no. Hang on. Who else has only done 1? Yuki Tsunoda's only done 1 as well. Okay. But then again, this timesheet's been wrong before. It was wrong about the Mercedes. It was completely wrong. But anyway, out of the drivers that matter at the moment, it's Max Verstappen, the only one that needs to pit again. He's far enough of Hamilton. He'll come out in 4th spot. Yuki Tsunoda still has to pit again. Yeah, so Yuki's race is done. Tsunoda will pit again. He has to. He'll come out in... he might even come out... He might come out in last place. Or... Oh, no. He'll come out ahead of Kimi Antonelli. Yeah, they may as well sacrifice Yuki. They may as well at this point. Yuki Tsunoda's going to finish 17th or 18th anyway. 3 laps to go. If they're going to do it, they want to do it quick. We're on lap 75 of 78. Oh, boy. Wouldn't that cause some controversy, though? Imagine the blow-up if it was Yuki Tsunoda who brought out a red flag. Liam Lawson is currently in 8th, and he's got DRS on Esteban Ocon. 76 of 78. Verstappen still to pit. They are just praying for a miracle. They're praying for an Abu Dhabi type miracle. Lando Norris in the box seat at the moment, unless something catastrophic happens in these last 2 laps. Max Verstappen still to pit. Hamilton's on the radio. Are they still ahead by a minute? Oh, Red Bull's out in the pit lane. It is obviously going to be Yuki. Oh, it's Yuki Tsunoda. Okay. Tsunoda's in the pits. Tsunoda drops. Past Bortoletto. Past goes Hulkenberg. Past goes Stroll. And Yuki Tsunoda comes out. Dropped my bottle. Yuki Tsunoda comes out in 17th place. (77 of 78). Molly says, imagine if they forgot to pit Verstappen. Oh, that'd be... I'm pretty sure Max wouldn't forget. Even if Red Bull didn't call him in, I don't think Max would forget. He's too good. He's too clinical. Racing is his life. I'm sure he knows to pit again. As Norris gets himself within DRS range. Verstappen on lap 77 of 78. Ready to jump into the pits. Told to box. Verstappen told to box. They held on for as long as they could. Leclerc's in DRS range of Norris. Norris will be under pressure here on the main straight. But Norris has gone well. Gets a good exit. Gets a very solid exit onto the main straight. And he will maintain first place. Verstappen comes out of the pits in 4th. Off the podium, it's Norris, Leclerc, Piastri. So no change to the starting top 3. No change to the starting top 4. It's Hamilton that's ultimately made up places. On to the final lap we go. Lando Norris will surely hold on. He's pulling away now in the clean air. Breaking away from Charles Leclerc, breaking the DRS. And cruising through now to a victory. From pole to win, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri. That is your podium for the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix. Here he comes, Lando. A few more corners to go. Here he comes for the checkered flag. Lando Norris. Victory for McLaren. Victory for Norris. Double podium again. Charles Leclerc in second spot. What a race. McLaren extend their advantage in the constructors. Norris and Piastri extend their advantage in the Drivers' Championship. Oscar will maintain the lead, but they break open some distance on Max. (2025) Monaco Grand Prix done and dusted. Lando Norris, the race winner. Monaco baby, says Norris on the radio. So, real talk. Did the mandatory two-stop strategy do anything? Really? It didn't change a whole lot, did it? No. Unless there's an opportunity for passing on track, I don't think anything really changes. I mean, it did make for some interesting conversations throughout the course of the race, but ultimately, I don't think it really altered anything. It ended the same, pretty much the same order it started, like it normally does. But obviously, it's an issue. The size of the track comparative to the size of the cars in modern day, that's the issue. Overtaking is pretty much impossible on this track unless it's in the pit lane. But still, that was a good lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Double podium for Mercedes. Double podium for McLaren. They held Max Verstappen out there for as long as they plausibly could. They were just hoping and praying for that red flag. It was the only chance that they had of winning that race. Wow. No red flag. I still reckon it would have been slightly hilarious if Red Bull kept Max out, obviously waiting for that red flag. Wouldn't it have been funny if Max was ironically the one that brought out the red flag? But, I mean, Max is a machine. He's not going to crash. Molly, thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Very much appreciate the kind words. Dylan Bransby, good job, Oscar. Our Aussie boy. How many Aussies have we got in the chat room, just out of curiosity? Can I get a show of hands? Australians. It is, and you know what? 12:47 a.m. here in Brisbane, Australia. And I've got another live stream at 9:30. 9:30 in the morning. We are covering AEW Double or Nothing here on the Wasted World of Sports. A little bit of pro wrestling. Why not? So we'll be back for that in about about 8 hours time. What happened to Max? He finished in 4th. They kept him out there for as long as they could, but he had to come in for that second pit stop. They were just praying for the red flag, Red Bull, hoping and praying. It didn't eventuate. He had to come in for that mandatory second stop, and he dropped back down to 4th place. Bruzzy boy, thank you so much, mate. Great stream again. Keep up the good work. You're doing an amazing job. Cheers, mate. I very much appreciate it. And your channel membership there on YouTube. I do apologize to the YouTube channel members. I know that channel membership on our YouTube, comparatively to, comparative to other channels, it's not like we slap a huge price tag on it or anything. But I still feel like I should be doing some, at least once a month, I should be doing more members-only content. I don't know what to do, in all honesty. I don't know what to do. And every time I ask the question, and this is no offense to anybody, but whenever I ask, like, you're the channel members, what sort of members-only stuff would you like to see? Everyone, oh, whatever, we don't mind. We're happy to just support, which is very nice. Anyway, I digress. I'm bollocksing on about nothing. Razor994 says, why is Zach happier when Lando wins instead of when Oscar wins? I think we all know the answer to that one, Razor. But I digress. There'll be no conspiracy theories here. But let's just say that at the start of the season, he did come out and say, we are entering the era of Lando Norris. But he wasn't counting on Oscar, was he? Wasn't counting on Oscar Piastri doing what he's been doing. All right, I'm going to have a quick break. I need to have another piss. So if there's any more questions in the chat room, I'm more than happy to field them. Otherwise, I've got to get up again in a few hours for the wrestling. AEW, Double or Nothing, coming up. So, yep, I'm going to pop off, quick break. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat room. I'll be right back. All right, Mr. Ed's dead. Ahoy, mate. How are you, buddy? It's always nice to do a stream at a relevant hour for our American friends over there. Very nice to have you along. All right, Waste of Motorsports, thank you so much for joining me for this one. Lando Norris, your race winner. It wasn't the most exciting race on track, but the strategy surrounding the pit stops, at least there was some excitement and some things to talk about. I got to get myself ready because bright and early in the morning, AEW Double or Nothing will be covering it live here on the Waste of Motorsports. I'm looking forward to it. I need to get the studio all set up, all ready for that one, and I also need to catch myself a little bit of a power nap in there somewhere before that stream starts. So I will take my leave. Thank you so much once again for joining us here. Another race down. McLaren continue to extend their lead there at the top of the Constructors' Championship, and they've got the two drivers battling it out for the Drivers' Championship. Looking forward to it. We'll be back live in approximately, 8 hours. For those interested, AEW Double or Nothing Pro Wrestling live stream coming up. That's the next thing here on the Waste of Motorsports. And then, of course, Wednesday night, the big one, State of Origin. Queensland versus New South Wales. Looking forward to covering all that action here as well. Thank you so much once again. Before I go, when's the next Formula One race? When's the next F1? That would be Spain, June 1st. Okay, so, triple header Jones. Next weekend, Spain. Fantastic. All right. I'll see the Formula One fans next week. I'll see the wrestling fans in a few hours. And I'll see the footy fans on Wednesday. Thank you so much. Catch you next time. Cheers. Very much appreciated.
Reformer